fait, ce qu'on m'a indiqué, c'est faire la table ronde. À l'issue de la table ronde, faire une photo sur scène et ensuite basculer tout le monde à l'espace VIP pour les interviews. Est-ce que ça vous convient comme organisation?
Nous, c'est juste, et puis comme Michel dit qu'il faut qu'il couvre tout
le salon. Vous voulez qu'on commence par les photos du coup? Oui, bien sûr. Mais on va commencer tout de suite alors.
Il va les faire pendant la table ronde, mais comme ça, on les a sans micro.
Ça marche. Alors, moi, j'avais prévu d'introduire, d'appeler tout le monde sur scène et peut-être je peux proposer un temps photo.
Là,
alors,
je voulais pas perturber l'organisation.
Vous avez les 4 qui sont là, le monsieur avec la chemise blanche, le monsieur avec le sweatshirt noir et les 2 suivants, donc Antoine et Fabrice. Vous pouvez aller faire leurs photos tout de suite. Allez-y, comme ça je lance la table ronde. Et voilà.
C'est juste avant, sans vous perturber.
Ça marche. Vous connaissez?
Oui.
Bon, ça va alors. Allez, les 14 heures. Oh, merci, c'est gentil. C'est super gentil. Ah oui, dans le bon sens.
Moi, je suis jamais à l'heure, il n'y a pas besoin.
C'est gentil, merci. Bien, bonjour à tous. Merci d'être venus pour cette première...
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this first roundtable or masterclass. Today we'll be talking about digitalizing the tourist offer. And what's important to understand is that from now on, customer journeys often start months ahead of time. And there are many elements that enter into the customer journey, from the identification of the destination and their choice of transport thanks to the local web, the rental of sports equipment via mobile apps, and many technology developments are necessary to allow a better customer journey. So to tell us a bit about the customer expectations that are changing, I'm happy to bring up to the floor here Guillaume Delage from Hubwiser, Antoine Fayard from E-Liberty, Fabrice Hurth from Mon Séjour en Montagne, and Olivier Reynaud from AIVE. So, gentlemen, thank you for having us, for having joined us. Please, each of you take a mic. And then my first question to you, Fabrice, from monséjourenmontagne.com. This is for you. What are the main challenges of digitalization of the tourist offer in the mountains for visitors? Hello, everybody. The first point is to facilitate the customer journey, to give customers the possibility. We'll wait for those announcements to go by, and then I will resume. So you were talking about the customer journey. Yes, we realize at our company, monséjourenmontagne.com, that every day the main moments when people are reserving their holidays are usually at 9 p.m. in the evening. So we need to give these people the possibility, if they don't have time during the day, agencies are closed and travel agents are closed. But at home, when you go home, you can take the time to check out the possibilities and reserve your entire customer journey in a single click. And that's what we want to do, is give customers the possibility to reserve their accommodation, their ski classes, the restaurant, the parking lot, the transport, the ski passes, the ski rental. And so when they arrive, often they do this 3 to 4 months ahead of time. And when they arrive on February 5th, everything is already in the package. Thank you. Antoine from E-Liberty. For professionals, are the challenges different? And if so, what are the main challenges? Hello, everybody. Well, for professionals, obviously they are different because they're on the other side. So we work mainly with lift operators. And the specific feature is that ski areas always control their sales. This is a sector which remains with very few intermediaries, with customer habits that are changing. And the challenges today are to be able to adapt to customer demand. This is what we're observing in the past 10 years is that, as we said, ski resorts don't have competitors in their own resort, so they don't have this culture of the notion of prices and customer services. And so today, it's the clientele who really dictates this demand. They no longer want to line up in ski lines. They want to have a seamless journey. And this is the main challenge, I think, today. So more fluidity from the very start when they arrive in the resort. Yes. In the introduction, I was saying that the customer journey often starts months before the visit. And one of the tools, major tools to attract visitors is video. Olivier, you work for AIVE. Could you tell us a bit more about the solution that you've developed and why you work with community managers and communication directors, which can be a very unpleasant, difficult task? Well, yes, AIVE is artificial intelligence applied to video with a lot of creativity. As you said, today, video is everywhere. It's on the net, on TV, in your telephone. And today, 80% of the internet is on video. So we can't ignore this. If you arrive in a resort or a tourist destination or when you're already there. And for a brand or creative agency or a startup, having this video that they can then adapt to different types of formats, context, the telephone, multiple languages, to have excerpts and clips, all of these formats, this requires a lot of work. It's quite repetitive, and it requires creativity, but it takes a long time. And the creative artists have to spend a lot of time doing this. So we've developed a technology that can automate post-production for video. So it's easier with a partner such as Club Med, who are one of our customers. They have films that present their activities and their resorts globally. And then this film allows people who are experts, such as community managers, marketing managers, who aren't experts in video editing. They can take this and just in a few clicks, they can set up their own videos. There are assistants. So AIVE acts as an assistant to help non-experts do shorter editing they can reduce the video but keep the keywords and the moments where the emotional intensity is higher, also doing audio with the voiceovers, etc. And this can be done in just a few minutes, whereas usually this post-production takes hours or even days or weeks. So yes, we really have very strong added value, and it's a solution to serve the creative staff, but also non-experts, so that all users can have a better experience thanks to video. So what I understand is that artificial intelligence is an algorithm. If we technically reposition what it is, are there other possible applications for artificial intelligence to facilitate the customer journey? Well, yes, exactly. Today, AIVE, we apply artificial intelligence to post-production, which is upstream. But when we anticipate other usages, for example, for e-commerce, when I'm reserving a trip, if I could have a little video that really speaks to me with a choice of images and dynamics. If I'm a family with a little girl and we're 40 years old, there'll be a clip set up with a different product than if it's a couple of seniors or if it's singles who are between 18 and 20 years old. It will be different. So this is where artificial intelligence can help locally during an event. For example, with Club Med, when I arrive in my hotel room and I see a screen that says it's 25 degrees, welcome, here I could see a little film that's customized for me, a 30-second or 1-minute film that just at a glance I can understand what's available in terms of services for me, ski outings or a nice restaurant, a film that's adapted to my needs and to me. So humanly, it would be impossible to do a film for each person. But thanks to technology and artificial intelligence, this gives more impetus, more power to the original film that was shot by human beings. We will always need human talent to create the original film, the original video. And then you can make it more elastic in terms of its format and its duration when you're actually using the video. So if you apply AI to creativity, it allows you this augmented creative power is more accessible to everyone. This sounds like a dream. Does it already exist? Is it operational? Or is it something that'll be arriving in the next 2 or 3 years? It's already operational. There's very little communication about it, but it's a project that took 3 years to develop. Today, privately, we have brands such as Club Med, Monoprix, other large chains and startups that use our technology, and they really save time in post-production, and it's huge. Today, it already works, and we're in an official, we're marketing it at the end of this year, and it is a world premiere. There's no equivalent on the market in terms of artificial intelligence that's creative and applied to video. And it's a French premiere, yes. In France, we have the best creative artists and the best engineers, and we were able to do it thanks to these skills that we have in France. Antoine, what are the main difficulties that you need to overcome when you work on a digital project? Are there errors that you want to avoid? Well, that's linked to the challenges that we saw earlier when you talked mainly about skiing. Who are the skiers? All of the analyses show this. It's CSP+, urban, high-end, educated clientele, and they don't always find all of their expectations when they arrive in the resort. So that's a challenge to meet these needs with products which are quite specific, with budgets that are not necessarily always allocated to this. Digital was often considered as just a communication tool by the resorts and not as a marketing tool. So now we have these expanded needs, and the other difficulties and challenges are with respect to the teams, the staff. Professional jobs are changing. It's true in most sales sectors. So digitalization wasn't invented in the skiing sector, but concretely we see this impacting everyone. The cashiers selling ski passes, or people who need to assist with online sales, for example, for ski passes with chatbots, etc. We have to train the teams. And there's also a budget, and I'll come back to that, because today we know it's something that's really significant. Let me give you a range here, but today there are 30 to 40% of sales that are online. This means it's almost half if we round it up. And if you see what's allocated to these tools today by the operators, we who are service providers, we know that these are dynamics that are still quite limited. Budget-wise, concretely today we have the sales of ski passes, which is closer to events sales. So on the weekend you have these peaks, and we really experienced that this year. And so for our solutions, we have 1,000 orders per minute sometimes during the peaks. On Saturday and Sunday, there are days with even 30,000 orders. So in terms of infrastructure, you can't use a magic wand. There are people working, there are servers that have to be allocated, purchased, and so this is a real challenge. You need to position your online sales at the level of what it can really do. These are things that are changing. The skiing world, I've been working in the skiing sector for 15 years, and more directly for operators, resort operators. We used to hear a message where people were saying, I have the monopoly in my resort. The customer, if he wants to buy a ski pass, he will buy my ski pass in one way or another. So they're not investing in conquering new market share. They're just investing in selling. And there's this need today for things to be simple and faster. And this is what customers want. Now, this varies depending on the resorts. If it's a proximity local resort with local clientele, either they have their season pass or they purchase their day pass every weekend. And then some of the longer stay resorts that have intermediaries, we've seen this a lot. Intermediation is decreasing, and this is going in the direction of the operators because intermediaries make more money. So how can the customer that I won't meet physically, I don't want to send them back in line with a piece of paper. In 2022, skiers can no longer accept this. So today there are technical solutions for this. We propose them at E-Liberty. There are others here in the trade show, but often we're confronted with the reality of the prices.
Do you have examples of big fails and how you went beyond them? Yes, obviously there are failures that concern us directly. These are linked to big peaks in traffic that were poorly anticipated. We've had to deal with them. But we progress because of this. We exchange transparently with the customers. These are black days when they happen, and that's when we realize the impact of online sales. We have heads of resorts who say that one of the effects of 2 hours of these services being down is a traffic jam in the resorts because all of the hotel concierge are going down to the lift offices to buy the passes that can't be bought online. So to answer your question, how can we anticipate this? Well, today we try to have partnerships in order to exchange upstream. As I said earlier, we've set up a data lab. We have data scientists and analysts, and we need the elements. We need the raw materials to work so we can anticipate peaks in traffic, and we have technical teams and developers who work with AWS. All our solutions are on Amazon. So there are two legends about being hosted in the cloud. It's not expensive. That's not true. It's not expensive when you're alone and you want to just stock your own photos. If you're a professional, it's expensive. And the second myth is that it works alone. Yes, there are scalable systems that are upgraded immediately, but what's specific to skiing is that it's so quick. The peaks that we observe, they go up so quickly, it's impossible that the machines can build on themselves. So we have to anticipate this. And so in order to anticipate, we need the information, etc. Do you have in mind an example of a medium-sized ski area and a big ski area? Of the prices that are paid on AWS? A range of prices? No. There isn't a range. Our economic model at E-Liberty is that we take a volume of sales, and we've been doing this for 8 years now. We believe that this is the only way to accompany the natural growth of sales online. The customers that we've been working with for these years, their budget linked to online sales has increased, but compared with the number of orders, it's gone down proportionately. So this is what you have to understand. There isn't an average budget to estimate. We think that the solutions that we propose are really the only way to deal with this. I'm not saying that E-Liberty is the only company, but it's the only model that works in order to share costs. If you're in a resort, regardless of the size, you have to deal with the cost of hosting, and it would be much too expensive. You talked about anticipation as a good practice. Since I asked you the question about the errors to avoid, I'm going to ask about good practices. What kind of good practices could you share with the public? I have just a few examples amongst many. Earlier I talked about that we've worked with ski resorts S3V. So the tool that they use most with us is the Pro tool for B2B. The COVID effect, this year without sales, we have to bear that in mind. But this year they're plus 80% on their online sales because they did work with their teams to accept the digitalization of sales and that more people are buying online. They invested in terminals to allow people to print their online sales, professionals and individual customers. We sell 400 million of euros of passes a year, and most of them are bought on the same day basis. 1 day, 7 hours is the average. So between when you buy the pass and when you actually pull it is very short. And Courchevel, they manage this really well. We have examples in the Pyrenees and at the Aiguille du Midi in Chamonix. All of the online sales work allows them to better manage the traffic on the cable cars where there's usually a long lineup. So they share the slots. And it makes it possible for the customer to know they have to be there at 9:20 and not earlier than that. So thanks to these digitalization tools, we can facilitate their lives, but you have to work with all of the actors in the value chain. Fabrice, earlier when you presented Mon Séjour en Montagne, there's a question I wanted to ask. Why would a syndicate like the Ski Instructors Syndicate decide to work on a reservation platform? Well, because no one else was doing it. Do you know why no one was doing it? This tool just seems so obvious now that it exists. Well, we worked on this when we started doing online sales for the professional ski instructors. 2005, 2015, we were working with tour operators and the GAFAs. Rather than go see an American coming and setting up on our market and working, making money off us, we decided to use our own data. So that's how it started. President Chabert of the Ski Instructor Syndicate decided to do this. So a simple-to-use platform that could federate everyone, that was ethical, that could allow everyone to digitize and to offer a real service to the customers of the ski areas. Today it's working quite well because we've gone from 2017, 2018, we've doubled our sales. Even with COVID, we're at 145 million. So we've offered a solution to the customers that really corresponds to their expectations and that they were waiting for. It's this will that we had. We developed it. We're 100% owned by the trade ski instructors union. We have rates that are almost unbeatable. We have this similar model to E-Liberty. We work with commissions, and the highest commission is 3.5%. So I don't think a GAFA would come in at a lower price than we do. So we're offering a service for the region, and we're proposing a commercialization and digitization offer. I know that you're new in your position, but if I come back to the development of the platform, what is the syndicate's takeaway from the development of this platform? Well, the figures speak for themselves. It represents an important potential for all of the mountain stakeholders. People use it a lot around 9 o'clock at night, as I said, but it also offers a possibility of having a fluid customer journey to allow the person to come from New York, arrive in Courchevel without any breakdown in the value chain. So it's a real expectation. It's a change in the way that we consume, and maybe COVID has had an impact. We've seen an increase in online sales everywhere for us too, so it's really trying to provide an answer for new consumer trends. Maybe I didn't express myself well. In terms of project development, what were the changes that you had to make? Where did it work really well? What things surprised you? So today we're on a system, in a B2C system essentially. So we're developing B2B now. What we wanted to do was step by step set up a real product that would work on all levels that we want to have. So we're going to move to other steps now, the digitalization of video. So we want to have immersive versions to allow people to reserve and live their experience from home already, to visit the ski shop, visit the accommodation, see where the kids will go, the daycare, so that parents will be reassured and trust the sale. So these are projects that we have today. Well, of course, we've had other pitfalls and problems, but going ahead step by step, we work very closely with our customers. To give an example, we have 20 resorts. We have different models. Montséjourenmontagne.com. It's a showcase, but we also have the online sales on a standard platform, and we also have widgets that allow all of the different businesses to connect together. The ski school can be in touch with accommodation, etc. So they can send each other customers back and forth. So it's a positive experience, and we work with our customers to adapt to their expectations. Like we work with E-Liberty and Antoine. We develop solutions for them because they needed these elements. We're getting our product to change, and every time we add something new, we allow all of our customers to benefit from the new item. So there's business possible between actors in the same destination. How can you bring the different stakeholders into contact, get them to speak to each other? Because you'd think that naturally they might not do it, but this is clearly not the case. When we're developing business between people in the resorts, it's usually the head of the ski school who wants to work with a hotel or a ski rental store or a service provider, a spa or a bike rental company. We propose that they join our platform. We put a widget on their site, and it allows people to reserve all of the activities with the businesses using the widgets. So let's say Mr. X in Resort Y, once they've bought the accommodation, it will say, do you want to buy your ski lessons? Do you want to reserve your ski gear? So we have the CRM boost system. If a month before the holiday they've booked their accommodation but not the ski lessons, we send a message to them saying, don't forget to book the lessons because otherwise your kids, there might not be enough room for your kids, etc. So we're really trying to think about what the final user needs. Yes, it's a real push system in our CRM, but there's the widgets that allow all of the stakeholders to exchange customers in a virtuous circle where everyone's sending business to the others. So this is upstream of the customer journey. Guillaume Delage with Hubwiser and your teams, you developed a solution that's quite effective once the visitor is on site. Can you tell us a bit about that? Yeah, a little bit before they arrive too, for the reservation process. So when La Rosière website was being redesigned, we wanted to develop an interface that could bring together all of the traffic in the resort, information about the shops, the services, the activities. So we wanted to bring that all onto this interface. This interface allowed us to have another understanding. The interface is quicker, easier to use. Thanks to the animation that's in. So without revealing any secrets, can you explain how it works? I went to La Rosière for an event 3 weeks ago, and I used the green catch to buy movie theater tickets. I used my GPS also, and the green cat was more effective. Is it a system of filters? What's behind all of this? So there are different functions on Green Cat. There's a navigation function. It works as a standard navigation system like Google Maps. But for pedestrians, it works better than Google Maps. Yes, I'll explain why it does. Because we can generate pathways that are strategic commercially rather than going in the quickest way from A to B. You'll go in front of the different boutiques of the resort and take you through the nicest parts of the resort It's good for everybody. The person walking sees the nicest places, and they can buy things if they feel like it. So why does this allow you to why is it important to optimize people's journeys through the resort? You talked about working with the shop owners and also allowing people to see the nicest places. One of the biggest questions for Green Cat was to promote the free shuttles in the resort, to encourage people to use them. So that the cars wouldn't be so omnipresent. So for this, we set up a save system to simplify the use of the public transport. So it works with a flow system. He's apologizing because he's lost his thought process. So we used Uber as an inspiration. When we use Uber, you can see the cars that are coming to get you, so you know how long it's going to take. You can leave your accommodation at the last minute. It's reassuring because you see that the vehicle's arriving. So we wanted to use the same application for our shuttles. We also used TCL, public transport in Lyon, as an inspiration to have the system of understanding when is the shuttle arriving. And what I didn't say at the beginning, which is important, in this web application, we use a gamification. I know it's a very trendy word, but you have a Green Cat interface that has elements in motion that indicate if the lifts are moving, they're green. If the buses are running in the resort, you can see the hours. So we're quite proud of the result, and it works really well. Yes, it's a very living system, and it's easy to interpret the map. It's closer to reality than just a photo or a drawing, where Google will build a journey. Some of you know the Age of Empire. It's an RTS game. So what we wanted was to have this type of design, isometric design, to have a global vision of the resort, an aesthetic vision, and also have this video game feel. You were talking about gamification as a strong trend. So I want to ask all of you now, what are the big digital marketing trends for the 3 to 5 coming years, where the people who are in this room should be investing or at least be vigilant about? There's an element that's really important in what we're saying today. The difficulty when you're in a resort, you're not just a single element. There are heads of tourist office and the lifts, etc., and other structures. The consumer, when you talk to them as a customer, they just want one source of information. So there are trends today around a one-stop shop that the big resorts have adopted. It's quite a big investment, but I think that is the future. All of the bricks that we see are going in this direction, positioning a customer application at the center of the stay. From Fabrice to Guillaume, everyone's saying the same thing. A customer that books at 9 o'clock and then in the resort tries to see where their bus is. We want to capture the whole chain and manage all the information regardless of where it comes from. And today there are lots of information flows that would allow us to do that. Who's the orchestra leader? Who integrates who? Well, that is the question. We're all working on this every day. And that's one of the big challenges for the future, to recreate links between these different information flows to facilitate the customer journey. Olivier? One of the big trends we're seeing is an ultra-customized experience. We see this with the reservation of tickets online. You see the experience in resorts. There Also videos that correspond to all of the uses. If I'm on my phone and depending on the time and the weather, to get a different video, shorter or with a different subject, that's something that's going to be more telling. So a creative person behind each telephone, that's impossible. So the customized experience requires the data scientists and artificial intelligence and all the data that we've been collecting for years. Each company, each profession today is digitalized, and the COVID has really been an accelerator for that. Today, data is everywhere, and we can do more to customize people's experience, particularly through video. So you're talking about the booster effect of COVID, and we consider that the 3 months of full lockdown allowed us to generate 5 years of digital maturity for a lot of companies. So Fabrice, what are you looking at for the next 3 to 5 years? I'm going to repeat what I said just to offer at a single point what the customer is looking for. Data is important, and we're there to make sure that our merchant customers are controlling their own data and that it's not being sent to a hub in the United States. We want to be able to give a real experience based on customer trends, so we can push information to the customer about what they're looking for, and this will develop really quickly. I know that in amusement parks, if you like Star Wars, for instance, it's Luke Skywalker who's going to welcome you at the entrance to the park. And that's what we have to do. We have to customize everything. For us, it could be one of our Olympic champions. It could be Clément Noël, who comes to the hotel and says, come and run a slalom with us. So we have to get people to dream, and this digitalization will allow that. Maybe not 5 years, but it will be quick. The COVID crisis allowed us to accelerate our work, and we have to start looking at this to generate dreams, to sell skiing better, and to allow everyone to enjoy and to want to come back. We have to have this notion of pleasure and sharing, whereas in the past we were just focusing on competition and just selling. Within Mon Séjour en Montagne, did you talk about the fact that when you're talking to a connected speaker or your Apple Watch, as opposed to a link on Google, you don't have the possibility, the customer doesn't choose the links that they'll click on. There's only a single answer when you connect vocally. So have you looked at this? No, we haven't looked at this yet. But we will have to. It's an element that we've integrated today. It's a trend that we're seeing with all of the connected speakers of the different brands. But the main concern for us in our sector is to federate everyone around a single tool. There are many tools, but we have to achieve this. We know in IT everything is possible. The main thing is to provide services to the customer for our end customers. What we try to do is virtual business with the shops in our resort, put them in direct contact. That's what works best. And we're pushing direct contact today. Guillaume, are there trends that you would like to talk about for the coming years? If I dare, yes. I think we have to start examining Web 3. What's Web 3? It's still nebulous, but it's linked to blockchain technologies, essentially. So with, for instance, cryptocurrencies are based on this technology. They're verification systems, blockchain. Everyone's going to be using this, And I think we have to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with this? With regard to NFT, maybe we could use NFTs for certain products. Or to have certified opinions. As opposed to TripAdvisor, we could get that the opinions really be certified. So NFT, blockchain, Web3, Olivier? This is a trend for now. It's the planetary impact. We need to reduce our carbon footprint on your side. For the passes 10 or 20 years ago, it required a lot of paper. We don't require that now. Video is 80% on internet, so we're going to reduce our internet carbon footprint. So push the right video to the right person and not necessarily a long video, a complex video. So we really need to reduce our carbon footprint, and that's something we need to do now. So we've got a few minutes left to conclude. So if you want to get a message across, the time is now about good practices. If someone comes to see you for a project, a digitalization project, what must they be careful about? We believe that it's April 25th, we're at Mountain Planet, we're all really happy to see each other. The seasonality of our profession is incompatible with the development time for IT. Yet we have constant requests for this. We would like to work in a forward-thinking way so that the development project be carried out in the appropriate way. So today we're lucky to be using a technology that allows us to develop quickly. But one of the challenges for us typically is technical debt. We don't want to be running late so that our tool won't be obsolete, insecure, unsafe. So what's important is time, the reality of time, the time that the operators have, the tourists have, customers have, and it's also, there's the idea of time for our tools. In IT, everything's possible. We could all be interconnected. We have the means. But sometimes we have to go back to basics and look at a longer-term future. We spend our seasons just working with lines of code to change a promotion, etc. But that's not those aren't the stakes. We need to work on something with more vision for the future. Fabrice, the sales tunnel. I talked earlier about the GAFA, and they're very strong in this, Amazon, etc. We see that we're losing our customers sometimes, and a good sales tunnel is important. We can improve the performance rate by a factor of 10 when they're appropriate. As Antoine said, we have short season when the customer's there. We have to keep the customer, provide them with the right answers, and until they've finalized, until they've pulled out their bank card, don't let go of them. And there's a lot of progress to be made there. Guillaume, would you like to add something? To better manage digitalization projects? If we're still talking about trends, I like the agile methods, this way of working, where we put things online very quickly and then we correct and build as we go, but we have something functional very quickly and then we adapt to the situation, to the trends. We see that things can change very quickly. We saw that with COVID. Who thought the QR code would work? So it would give us more tolerance in project management. So we said 45 minutes, and we're right on 45 minutes. Thank you, everyone. I just wanted a good practice for video. The market's very structured, so we don't need to go through a huge creative agency to make videos. For all of the stakeholders here, there are small agencies you can work with very small teams who work very well throughout France. You don't have to go and check out the big ones. If you've got a tight budget, you can get a video made by a small agency, freelancers, the marketplace, and then to expand this, you can use AI, and that's with AIVE, our company. Thanks, everyone. So I think we're going to take a photo. And then, gentlemen, we're going to move on to the next area for interviews. Thank you, Olivier Reynaud, Antoine Fayard, Guillaume Delage, and Fabrice Hurth for your participation. And for those who would like to participate in the next roundtable, it will be on high-end and luxury hotels, trends for the future, and best practices. See you in 15 minutes.